Hey, family. Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the Central. Good evening on the East Coast. How y'all doing, family? Hi, Vicky. I stay in Facebook jail. Yes, I do. You know what's so bizarre? I don't know if it's my haters or if it's Facebook coming after that ADOS. I think they might be censoring us. I'm going to have to do a poll. If you're in the chat or you're listening live, could you write in the chat, hey, Nicole, thank you for joining on the live. Thank you, family, for showing up and out this Tuesday evening. So glad to have you on the live. Thank you. You guys are going to have to let me know. I'm going to poll you guys to find out, is Facebook putting you in jail? Like within the last month, I've been in Facebook jail like 4 times. And this is the longest time, family, that they've had me in jail. The first 3 times, it was just like 3 days. But this past Saturday, while I was trying to share a link to my show with all the other ADOS groups, I got blocked and thrown in jail and restricted yet again. So I'm like, is it someone that's hating on me and coming for me in this way? Or is it Facebook impeding on our First Amendment rights? Hey, Lisa, good evening. Let me know where you're slinging bricks at so I can shout out your state, your city, and let folks know where you're doing your work. Because a lot of this show is not just about the ADOS hot topics and making the case for reparations some more. It's about growing this movement, right, family? ADOS. It's about growing your chapters and getting you more laborers in the field for our reparations and Black agenda. We're coming for that check. We are here and we ain't going nowhere until it happens. All kinds of trickery going on. All right, now I see you. Okay, she put in there, okay, is it Triangle, North Carolina, family? Nicole, are you from Triangle, North Carolina? I see some kind of acronym down there, but I can't quite make it out. But did y'all see those Dems clowning again? Did you see that? I didn't watch it. I just go online in ADOS Bay Area. All right, Lisa, thank you for being here. Yeah, I like to watch. Yes. Okay, Nicole, I did get it right. Triangle, North Carolina is in the live. You guys know that from my show yesterday, I got a member who asked to join ADOS SoCal, and he's in the Philippines, family. You know, you can only be but so mad at Facebook and YouTube, right? We've got all this national, international reach. He wants to sling bricks for ADOS SoCal right where he is. You know I'm going to put him to work. And he wants to donate to the Super PAC. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing, family. But back to the chicaneries in Iowa. You see, this isn't new for me. I was working the Bernie Sanders campaign back in 2014 and saw all the trickery with these superdelegates where their constituents were voting the way of Bernie, but the superdelegates were saying, no, we want Hillary. We're already in her pocket. It doesn't really matter what you vote. And I've shared all up and down my wall about how the Dems were in court and told the judge when we sued them for all the money we poured into the DNC that went to Hillary, that they don't have to be democratic in their process, in their selection of a candidate. They basically told the judge, we do whatever we want with your money and with this election, whatever we please. If you don't believe me, just go back through my feed. You'll find that post. It's over there, family. But I say all that to say that we coming for those reparations. And my guest here tonight is going to help me make this case because we're actually writing letters and eventually going to put it before the board of the super PAC and the assembly for all of the ADOS movements to sign off on, because I don't know how much we'll get into it tonight, but our reparations are already granted through the 14th Amendment and the 1866 Civil Rights Law. It's already ours. We just have to make the case to show them you're breaking the law to not surrender those monies and all of the other legislation and enforcements that come with us as a protected class. It is already written. So I've got the incomparable Ted Hayes coming up momentarily, and he's going to share with us about the nonsense going on with the homeless out here, and FEMA and the National Guard looking to quarantine the 90% of ADOS on Skid Row into concentration camps. Yes, family, this is what's going on in beautiful, sunny Southern California. And I would venture to say it will be kind of like the litmus test for what they intend to carry out throughout the nation if it's successful. But Ted Hayes is not having it. He is a civil rights activist and homeless advocate for 35 years, family. He's been on everything and everywhere, including the White House. So without further ado, family, let me bring him on upstairs so we can talk about it. All right? Stand by. Hey, Shauna, I see you, ADOS Bay Area. Thank you for joining the live. He'll be up in 5, 4, 3, 2.
You hear the noise?
Hold on one second, family. We'll have a little
I got you.
Don't you do anything. Can you hear me, Ted?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
You can. I can hear you.
I can. You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Oh, this is a mess.
Should I just call in?
Can you that's going to get feedback. Family. Ooh, we worked through these technical issues. We finally get to see him, but he can't hear me, but we can hear him. Hold on, family, just stand by. I beg your patience. Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. The challenge is there is an echo. So let me explain. Computer. Turn your mic off your computer.
How's that?
Much better. It's still a little echo.
I hear that.
You have to mute your computer.
How do you mute this thing?
Mute the computer, not the phone. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, perfect. Hold on, family. It's okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Family, I'm doing a test. Can you guys hear? You should be able to at this point. I'm going to trust that you can hear. Thank you so much for your patience, family. This is the incomparable Ted Hayes, whom some of you may know, and he may be new to most of you. Ted, I do want to read just a little bit of your bio to let the family become familiar with all the extraordinary work you've done to help, in particular, the homeless. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the yeses. They can hear us and they can hear you just fine.
Excellent. Hey, guys.
I'm going to do a brief little bio of Ted. Ted Hayes is the USA's foremost patriot, homeless, and civil rights resolution activist. You can find him at www.tedhayes.us. Presently, our guest is in regular discussions with high-level staff at the White House on homelessness resolution, some of which he can and will share on tonight's live. Ted's organization, the Conservancy for the Preservation of Black Citizenship, acronym is CPBC, is conducting an unprecedented, since its enactment 155 years ago, a congressionally sponsored occasion on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C., entitled Cashing the Promissory Note, an expose on the merits of the 1866 Civil Rights Act, otherwise termed the Act, 14th Amendment, U.S. citizenship of Black citizens on Wednesday, February 26, 2020, this year. In quotes, the presidential enforcement of the sacred law is the first step in breaking the cycle and causes of homelessness, says Ted, America's foremost lay scholar on the subject. As this conference is actually the beginning of the foretold someday awakening of Black citizens to their birthright super citizenship, thereby being a sort of birthday party, the sponsoring congressman is inviting all members of Congress, as well as Americans of willing immigrant heritage, even those whom are illegal or so-called undocumented, to rejoice with us in our awakening. Ted says, out of respect and their personal own interest to survive in this union Republican form of government nation, Americans of willing immigration have an obligation to celebrate and express appreciation of Black citizens, the descents of unwilling chattel slaves upon whose immigrant enslaved backs this immigrant nation is built, stands, and or will fall. Ted admonishes Black citizens everywhere, regardless of political, religious persuasion and ethno-racial identity, that when they hear someone make the statement, America is a nation of immigrants, to immediately correct them, stating that Black citizens are not immigrants. And to believe and say such falsehoods is psychological genocide of us. Rather, it's a nation of willing immigrants and unwilling chattel slaves, or an immigrant nation built upon the backs of chattel slaves, a nation of chattel slaves hosting immigrants, etc. As a self-professed Black Hamitic Jew, as with Black U.S. citizens, Ted also speaks up for the existence for the Jewish state of Eretz Israel, and as well as world Jewry, even as ordained by Adonai Elohim Hashem, the God of Abraham. Having visited the only Jewish state on earth, Ted seeks to take a delegation of Black citizens there in the near future on an educational tour. While some very solvable American Jewish and Blackish people's contentions, Ted is seeking healing between them in order to renew the relationship that existed during the 1960s civil rights movement, and even greater, unparalleled in all world history. Ted is also the father of Miss Joanna D. Hayes, scholarship UCLA alumni, 2004 Athens, Greece Olympic gold medal champion of the 100-meter hurdles, in record-breaking time, USC and UCLA track and field coaches Sydney McLaughlin, world champ in 400-meter hurdles. Direct link is joannahayesfoundation.org. Ted's work is dedicated to his beloved family. Welcome, Ted Hayes. We are honored and privileged to have you on the live this evening. We've got so much to get into, but let's just start with the homelessness issues that are plaguing Southern California. How we have gone from 15% to 6% and being driven out on a regular basis, and how, although we're only 6% of the population down here in Southern California, 90% of the people that are homeless on Skid Row are ADOS. Can you share with us how you came to be an advocate for the voiceless over the past 35 years?
First of all, Angela, you hear me okay?
Yes.
First of all, Angela, I want to thank you for being open and willing to hear some of my views and ideas we spoke on. Chris, when last, friends of mine for many years introduced us. And we met, we talked, and I told y'all, I told Angela when we first met that I was so happy that the ADOS movement came. So happy y'all showed up. Man, we was lonely up out here. But I heard y'all yourself, not African Americans, but Americans of slaves. And, oh my gosh, these young folks are waking up. Sorry, that's what I think about y'all. You are the smartest group of young Black men and women. Now go back to the 1960s when things were jumping and carrying on. But I tell you, the Panthers, all of them, I think y'all are the most powerful group of young Black men and women maybe in the history of the country, frankly, because you have been born in an era of incredible technological understanding and tools. You have been gifted with bright minds. You've been gifted with a global mindset. And you're able to use this technology well. And the fact that you are thinking about yourselves in this United States of America and what your relationship is with it, because you don't call yourself African, even though we have the African root. You are American. And I am just so honored to be able to address you this evening. And I hope and I pray that it's not the last time.
Oh, it won't be.
I hope
it will not be, because you were born to talk just like me. I'm Chatty Cathy and you're Chatty Ken, right? You know how we go in.
Yes,
Marlon is still rubbing the sleep out of his eyes from how hard in the paint we went on that conference call last night.
I know. He's a beautiful. And what I appreciate about all the ADOS people that I have met, you're willing to listen. You're willing to be open, even to ideas that you never heard of before, or that may be contrary to what you've always believed, what you believe. And that's a very good sign of creativity and intelligent genius. And I believe that what I bring to the table, I bring to the table some power like no other people on the planet of Earth have ever had. And I'll explain to you down the road how that power actually works and where the center of that power is. I want to bring to the table something that Martin Luther King, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King, talked about in 1963 on August the 28th at the Civil Rights March on D.C. I was like 11 years old, but I've grown up to realize what this man was trying to tell us. And y'all go read that speech again, especially the first half, and note when he talks about the promissory note. He said, we have come to the nation's capital, to the bank of justice, or peace, to cash the promissory note. I will show you as we walk down this road that the promissory note is actually your ticket to the reparations. You see, it's your currency, and it's not just about your monies or material possessions and all those things which people call the American dream concept. They don't really know what the American dream actually is, and we're going to show you down the road that actually you are the American dream. That's why I think about this. And Dr. King, when he made that speech, he said, "Go read it and listen to his cadence." As he's chiding America about not paying the promissory note. He's chiding the nation about if the experiential citizenship of the black citizens of this country, they call them Negroes in those days, is not actualized, America will have a rude awakening. And then he's going on and on and on, and all of a sudden he kind of caught himself because he got emotional, starting to really nail the cast that was responsible, which Malcolm X had said early in the year. He said, before the rally started in D.C., he said, why are y'all going to have a civil rights march with the Democratic Party? Why are y'all going to march with the Ku Klux Klan? How does that work? You cannot make good and evil work together, or the devil and God. He said, y'all gonna go down to Washington and you're gonna get the wool pulled over your eyes, you're gonna get hoodwinked, you're gonna be bamboozled. And they called Malcolm a racist because he properly diagnosed the situation that we were being herded into as a people at that time. But after Martin Luther King caught himself, it was starting to fire up because I think he began to remember what Malcolm had said. He caught himself and then he said, I still have a dream. I have a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. See, we chattel slave descendants, we ADOS people, we are not immigrants. We didn't ask to come here. We're not immigrants. So we don't have the American dream. They wonder what's wrong with black folks. How come we can't do like the Hispanics or like the Indonesians or the Indians or even the African immigrants? How come we still at the bottom? Well, that's because they came here willingly with an American dream. We didn't come here with no American dream. They drug us over here. chains around our necks, around our ankles, around our face, sick and beaten down. We was not lined up in Africa with visas to come to America. We was not talking about land of the free, home of the freaking brave. We was talking about, on that slave ship, I want to get back home. See, we kind of did the moonwalk into America backwards. And we've never been able to spin ourselves around correctly to get it right. And that's what I want to bring to the ADOS table. I'm sorry, since I'm running on.
I am thrilled. No, I mean, we understand that we are in the presence of an extraordinary elder that has paved the way. As the ADOS, I was thrilled that Crystal put us in each other's company. And I'm new to activism. You're seasoned. And what I love about you, Ted, is unlike a lot of the elders and in Cobra, Dr. Claude Anderson and the like, they really disparage the ADOS movement for what we're doing and the way we're getting it done. You are the first elder of your ilk to really reach out to me and to the ADOS SoCal with open, loving arms. And are you willing to be our wise counselor and to help us to avoid the pitfalls and to help us to stay safe? You are an asset to us. And so it's your show tonight. I just hate that we can't go until the sun comes up. That's what I hate, because ADOS's life is happening. My daughter don't want to do the dishes. I got to get in there after this hour and do the dishes so I can cook for her, Hazel over here. Then I got a 9 o'clock ADOS SoCal call. Okay, it just don't stop. Once you pick this movement up, you already know. Tell the family how you left your family to do 8 years on Skid Row to understand how we got here so that you can speak. You was amongst the troubled souls on Skid Row. You went into the lion's den like Jesus would, because that's who he moved amongst, okay? He went up into the house and upset the money changers, okay? He tried to get them all together. He tried to say, didn't I tell you you were God? When the Pharisees and the Sadducees were jealous. You could do the same thing when you access your inner God. When you go to the mountain in your meditation and prayer. I'm not going to get on that because we got atheists that call in. That's okay. I'm not going, they don't want me. Look, they allow me to do a little bitty prayer at the end of my calls, but they don't want a whole bunch of church stuff. It's okay. I respect where everybody is, because guess what? They're made in the image likeness. They can't escape that no matter what ideology they embrace. But I want the audience to understand your sacrifice and what makes you an authority in this arena. Talk to me a little bit about that decision that God put in you, the way God put in us to do this movement. Talk to me about that decision to go down there and live amongst the homeless. How did you get to a place where you opened yourself up to your Creator, to take that kind of risk and leave your family to go be amongst the people, to be able to speak full-chested about the repair they're due? Let's start there.
Little shout out to the atheists. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. If you don't want to believe, you do believe in something. You believe in you, and you can't really see. You see somehow. And so long as you're trying to love humanity and do the right thing and help us on this homeless thing, you're good.
Aren't they good?
Hey, shaman, whatever your
Buddhists. They over here slinging rocks.
Don't put no swords and guns in people's neck if they don't agree with your religion. Okay.
They don't do that. They give me so much love, and they tolerate me. They tolerate my tears. They tolerate my drama. They tolerate my screams. I love my ADOS family. They are my tribe, and they are ride or die. I've been doing this show for about 4 months, and they've been here consistently lifting me up, watching me stumble and fall and get back up, and just loving me through this process. So it's your turn. They want to hear you. They hear me all the time.
Please pardon me. I got to capsulize this. Um, what got me out here in this situation to actually go and live on the streets of Skid Row, downtown LA, in 1985. I was there for like 8 years. So, and what I went there to understand it. But what really got me there was my big mouth. Big mouth. I used to think at one time I was a minister, right? I quit doing that because I realized
you are. But go ahead.
No. I'm a believer, but not. Anyway, I got enough to answer for. I can't be answering for everybody else. I just hope he said to me, "Well done, good and faithful Ted."
That's right. That's right. That's right. You've earned it.
And you know, I grew up in a family where my mother taught us to speak up for yourself and to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. And after a while, you grow up, you get a bit of knowledge in your head, and you think you know it all. You think you know stuff. And so I spent a lot of time with my Bible open, watching some of them religious programs, them hypocrite preachers, and I'd be yelling at them. The Bible don't say that. Yelling at them. Then I would criticize the rich. I would criticize the white man. I would criticize the government, the corporations, the activists, the NACP. I criticize everybody, and somebody needs to do something about homelessness. Somebody needs to. So one day I believe that the Lord spoke to me. He said, "Boy, if you know so much, so big mouth, you need to go down to Los Angeles. Show it. In the meantime, until you come to Los Angeles, that's where I'm going to be down to hang out the homeless. Until you come down here, I'm about to talking to me. I'll hear you, but I ain't going to respond to you." It took me a while. I had to fight and struggle with myself for a while, and then recognizing I had wife and 4 little kids, and oh man, all kinds of stuff, man. I don't want to get too personal, but I went. I thought I'd be maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you know, smelling it, tasting it, feeling it. I can still smell the smells this day. Seeing it. I'd be going to jail, protesting, that is, protesting. I'm an activist, I was protesting. Eventually, I realized that it's more to it than just help the homeless. It was a whole socio-economic, political situation. And one of the first things I said when I looked around and saw all the young black men and women, I asked the question, where are all the African-American leaderships and organizations to deal with it? I said then that 35 years ago, that black homelessness is directly caused by unrequited injustice of 245 years of chattel slavery. Born slaves, live a slave, die a slave. Your children are the property of another man who did not have anything genetically to do with the birth of that child. You all know. And then right after we were freed from that, another 99 years of racist intended Jim Crow laws where see, people get mad sometimes when we kind of set aside to ourselves, well, black folks are being segregated. No, we didn't create the idea of segregation. That was their idea. And they wrote laws to enforce that idea for economic and political reasons. And you combine all of those 245 years, 297 years, 299 years of that and the Ku Klux Klan terror and the psychological warfare terror that went on with the thousands of lynchings that went on against our people, even children, even little girls, and the murder of people like Emmett Till. All those things had physical and psychological effect on us.
Thank you.
then in 1964, when we made the mistake that Malcolm X warned us about, we went on and with that 1964 Civil Rights Act of integration, which is all fine, but with that came some policies and some programs that were specifically designed to maintain the black citizens, the descendants of chattel slaves in a state of ignorance and darkness. That's been a struggle. And subsequently, not being able to compete with the other ethno-racial groups who are here willingly as immigrants, naturally, we are going to not only lead in every negative social statistic in the world, in the country, except for teenage suicide. The Hispanic Latinos got that one. We'll talk about that in the future because nobody talks about that but me. Naturally, here we are, the ultimate statement of our 400 years of suppression in this country, homelessness. That embodies everything that is wrong with America and with us together. So I've learned from experiences. I've made a lot of mistakes, y'all. A lot of big mouth mistakes. Stuff that gets you in trouble unnecessarily. Attitude. I made a lot of attitude mistakes. I've had to go before city council and the board of supervisors in my more mature years and apologize about some of the things I said and called people in them days. But the Lord taught me, and He's given me gifts. He's given me law, understanding. And I want to bring this to you. And I don't want you to make the mistake of our forefathers. And I want you to try not to be too critical of those who failed before us, and right now, who are failing before us, which is why y'all came into existence, because you are the new vanguard. You are the future, not only of black citizens, the citizens of slaves. You are the salvation of the nation, and I'm going to show you that you are actually. You ever hear of the national treasure? See that movie, The National Treasure? National Treasure. People think national treasure is gold and silver and land. No, you are the national treasure. You are the black national treasure of America. Without you, ADOS children, without you, there would be no America. There'll be no Israel. There'd be no Russia. There'd be no China. There'd be no space. There'd be no moon. There'd be people going to the moon. You know all those satellites that's sitting outside the solar system? That's on y'all's back. Sorry, that's on y'all's back. And I want you to take pride in that. You hear people say, well, I'm a proud immigrant. Well, good for you. I'm not. But however, for the sake of my ancestors and the people who died for my freedom, in all due humbleness before God, I'm a proud chattel slave. Because without my ancestors back, all y'all foreign speaking people up in here, you wouldn't be here. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm just making a little funny there.
No, I think it's wonderful to make that correlation. Can you unpack how we are, in fact, the Black national treasure of this country, and I would venture to say the world?
No, you are right about that, including the world, because if for example, you're going to learn this in time, y'all. If we at the foundation upon which America stands, if for whatever reason we crumble, what happens to all of this up here? It ain't going to stand because it ain't got no foundation. So it crumbles. So what I'm doing to the white citizens of America, I'm teaching them and trying to help them to understand. I need you to help us to do this with them. Is they need to understand that being that we are their treasure, it is not in their interest for them to allow us to be destroyed either by a foreign entity or by a domestic entity or by our own hands. By our own hands. Why? We didn't ask to be here. They brought us here. And with us comes the good and the bad, and they have inherited us as their property. Therefore, they have a responsibility to rectify it. And if they let us die, they die. That's why you don't have to yell at people anymore and call them all kind of names. People know what they are. people just want to know, how can I get out from under this? And you ADOS guys are going to do it. The point you wanted about it, I have a document here, folks. I want you on your own. No, let's do this. Remember this. I want you to go to one of my websites. I want you to go to, let's make it very simple. Go to tedhayes.us. tedhayes.us. Now, on tedhayes.us, you'll see the lineup of all the different websites that I have. And want you to go to the 14th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act of 1866. You go there, because I want to show you that this law right here, you can't see it now, but I want to show you that this law, this Constitution law that most people don't even know exists, called the Civil Rights Act of 1866. That is the congressional act that made the chattel slave, the freed chattel slaves, that made them citizens of the United States. However, it was only a constitution. It was only a congressional act which could be repealed by another Congress in the future. So the architects who, and I'll tell you later in a future show who the architects are. It'll shock you. It's going to shock you when you find out who the architect of this law is. Those architects recognize that a future Congress would come along and repeal the act. So they said, well, we're going to have to codify it. We're going to have to embed it into the Constitution of the United States.
Who are the architects?
So you're going to get us off on another track.
No, I want their names so I don't forget for the next show.
Okay, I'm going to tell you just they were Republicans. They were Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, not Democrats. They were Republicans. I was shocked too when I found out about it.
But go ahead with your thought. So the Republicans embedded it in the Constitution.
But so that you don't get confused, though. But the people that are there today as Republicans, they're not Republicans. So don't get it twisted. We're going to show you what I'm a real Republican, an 1854, 56 Republican. You'll hear more about that in the future. But we were saying
that the 1866 had to be embedded in the Constitution
to protect it so that nobody can take it out. Now, in that birth certificate is what it is. It's your birth certificate.
And the promissory note. I've heard you refer to it as our promissory note.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That's what it is. Your promissory note that gets you to everything, to reparations, whatever you want to go shopping for in America, do business with them within America, you can go get that.
Can you give them that analogy you gave me about the key in the house and how it's synonymous?
Sure. Look at it like this, folks. Look at a house, and you want to go in that house, and the door is locked. You can't get in the house, and you stand on the porch fussing, arguing, and fussing about what you can't get in the house. And then someone comes along and says, "Is that your house?" "Yes, my house." "Well, what you do outside?" "I can't get in. The door's locked." "Well, did you know you have the key?" "Where?" "In your pocket." "Go in your pocket. That's your key. Put it in this lock. Turn it, and go in." If someone says, "What are you doing in this house?" You say, "I have the key. This is my house." And then they say, "Well, show me the papers." And you reach in your back pocket. You pull out the deed to the house. The 14th Amendment is the key to the door of the house. The Civil Rights Act of 1866
is the
deed.
That is
the deed to that house. You see, there are people in this country, and I don't want to mention any names, but there are people in this country and around the world, actually, who are coming into the country pregnant. Some come legally, most come illegally. They come pregnant, or they come here and get pregnant, and they'll have a baby within the borders of the United States because Section 1 of the 14th Amendment says anyone born in the United States is a citizen of the United States. And of course, they take it out of context. But that's not talking about people from around the world. I'm talking about us. Talking about us. And they're using our 14th Amendment as they call themselves. I want to be careful here. There are people who come here and they have babies, and and they say those babies have a birthright citizenship. Okay, they're and they're taking that which belongs to us. And the only reason why they're taking that is because we don't know that we have that this is in our possession. I want you to learn from all of this is that this key, this title deed is your and only your possession. This is your birth certificate. If just like you have an actual birth certificate, if I asked you, let me see your birth certificate, and then you could take your birth certificate and you could describe your race, your color, your hair, your parents, where you were born, where you're from, all that, your birth certificate, and nobody else. But can I share that birth certificate with you? Can I just all of a sudden say, hey, I'm on that birth certificate with you? No, I cannot. That's a no. However, this is what's been going on with our 14th Amendment for 155 years, y'all. When this law was given to the chattel slaves that were freed, this law that has so much power in it that we did not know how to read. Think about it. We didn't know it was in this law. Some people tried to teach us. They tried to teach us. Some white people, they tried to teach us, other folks, but every time they tried to teach our people, they got strung up. Got beat up, shot, killed, murdered. The schoolhouses or the churches that was built to teach us how to read, they were burned down, preachers murdered. Why? Because there's a certain element in America who fears our existence. There's a certain element in America who has been chasing us for 155 years to stop us from waking up and realizing who we are, that we are the black national treasure of the United States of America. There's not a scholar in this country or world can refute me on that point. I would love to hear them show us otherwise. That's why I want to. I've been in stores around in LA, in places, and sometimes I'm looking and I'll be hearing languages that I don't know. Strange language. They be talking, and I want to stop and say, excuse me, y'all is in the can you understand the words that be coming out of my mouth? Oh, in the United States of America, we speak English here.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
Back.
What do you think about how you literally have to know Spanish here in Southern California just to get a job interview these days? What are your thoughts about that? And how can we stop that?
Well, the way you're going to stop is, you can kick the light all night long. You can kick the darkness all night long, and darkness is going to stay right there. You'll sit there and make yourself go crazy, kicking and screaming at the dark. All you got to do, turn on the light. You are the light. And that's what I want to bring to ADOS, to the table. I want to bring you this power so that you recognize that you are the light. So when you are walking on Venice Beach or in some neighborhood somewhere in America, on the street, in a store, you can, I'm learning how to do this myself, actually. There's a walk you get. There's a certain walk you get. And a certain way you hold your head up, get your shoulder up, back get straight, kind of walk like you
own the place. You own the joint. I know that walk. I've got that swag. My family will tell you. I got that swag. Yeah. Oh, yes, I do.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Think about yourself. You're going to start feeling, you're going to find yourself walking around singing songs and carrying on. And the brothers that you didn't trust or that you want to hurt, or you don't like because they're blood or a crip or they're from that set or this set or that coast or this coast, all that stuff is going to start subsiding because we fight each other because we hate ourselves. You simply export hatred on another person. But when you start liking and loving yourself, you can love your neighbor as yourself.
It's contagious.
It gets contagious.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you something. I can go certain places. People just walk up to me. One time, I just want to stand beside me. I wasn't doing nothing. Just looking around me. Just want to Can I stand beside you? This is what we have. And
That's the power of ADOS.
That's the power of ADOS.
A beautiful people, inside and out, through and through. Well, let me get you back on track because I really want to dig into this thing you shared about FEMA and the National Guard looking to quarantine us in what could be considered concentration camps, the 90% ADOS on Skid Row. How did that even get on the menu? Like, what happened for them to think that that was a good idea? What's going on back of that?
People are frustrated. They think they're looking at homelessness when they see people on the sidewalks, under the bridges, and bus stops, different places, and, you see. And then here in the urban centers in LA and around the country, we are the predominance of the population. We're like 12%, but we're over 60% of the homeless population. And people are frustrated because what they're seeing is not homelessness, that's houselessness. But there's something deeper going on. This is a well, Maxine Waters said 35 years ago when she was a young assemblywoman out here in California, she said that homelessness is the ultimate statement of what is wrong within society. And so what you got is a bunch of people in society who think that they're dealing with homelessness and therefore they'll come up with all these ideas for shelters and programs and so forth. And because they put billions and billions of dollars into this homelessness, they can't resolve. In fact, it's getting worse and worse and worse. They're getting to the point where they're getting scared. And what's bubbling up more and more, and I see it. See, I saw it 35 years ago. I realized that if we don't go this way, the only option we have is we're going to start rounding people up and putting them in concentration camps and so forth and so on. I said that way back then. And what's happening now, it's snuck up on us really fast here. People are so frustrated for fear of the disease epidemics.
Yeah, they're talking about typhus down there and the rats.
Typhus from the rats, and now what's this new disease that just popped out?
Coronavirus.
The virus. And see, the problem with homeless people, you can't check them because they move about on the public facilities and they're dropping stuff. And I'm not knocking. I'm just saying this is what it is. And people are afraid that something's going to break out. And if it breaks out, it's going to affect everybody very fast. So what they're thinking is, look, the best thing to ultimately do here is just send the National Guard, round these people up, take them out to some federal property or some state property, build up some shelter houses, innovative showers, teach them agriculture, teach them whatever, get all the social service entities out there to handle the mental illnesses and things, and we'll put up a fence around it because they'll never leave. Why will they never leave? Because where will they go?
And how will they get there?
How do you get there? I don't know about in y'all's town, y'all cities, but the cost of living and rent here in LA is off the hill. It's like $2,500 for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. You're gonna tell this cat on the sidewalk, go get a job, to get back into the mainstream.
But this is what's problematic about Bernie Sanders and his $15 an hour. That doesn't even make a dent in the cost of living down here.
What that stuff?
Any place in the country.
Malcolm X said what that stuff is lollipops stuck up their anus. Just to keep them cool. So it's a game, but you know what though? It's not too late. But I do want you to know that is where we're headed. Now as an activist and a strategist, and I've been watching this for 35 years and handling it from all different directions, I can read the trend. The trend is, I'm going to let y'all in on something. Yeah, we're in the White House, okay? It took me 35 years to get there. It goes to several presidents. I got real close to Bill Clinton one time. Didn't go all the way. We got sabotaged. But we're there now again, and whether you like Mr. Trump or not, uh, he talked to me. I haven't talked to him personally, but I heard him talk about us in a way that most people didn't hear. And he has let me in the White House to negotiate with his top staff. In future sessions, I'll tell you and explain to you the inner workings of the White House on this particular entity that we're working there. And he's allowing me to confront and negotiate my team. I have a couple teams, and negotiate with them because see, they're not strategists. These staff, they're not planners. They don't even have a national policy to give to the president. See, Mr. Trump is out there. He's a billionaire. He knows the old people at the bottom of the world. He can think he empathizes, but he can't. There's no knock on him. He don't know what to do. When he first came out with this, he said, "We'll do something." What are you gonna do? I don't know. I'm gonna do something. So these cats are telling him what we need to do because the homeless are mentally ill. We need to build shelters, innovative one-stop program. We want to bring rehabilitation to them and all these wonderful programs. And what is basically called, we call that the homeless industrial complex, where people are making a living off of the population at the bottom of the world. And they have become addicted to it, like an addict addicted to cocaine, crack, or something like that. And they keep eating that stuff. And what's going to happen is, it's been said that they're going to give $1.3 billion to Los Angeles. Gavin Newsom has got into the conversation, which I started the conversation. I started off with Eric Garcetti back in June. I told him, said, look, you have a national crisis here. You need to go to the president. But before you go to the president, you need to have a national strategic plan in there. If not, he's going to come in and do whatever he wants to do. Because y'all know what you're doing in this thing. I have that plan. You need to implement it. And so he was going to talk to the president right away and I said, do that. He also admitted, he said, don't tell you and I, because we'd be different, man. I've known him for years. His father worked with me to develop this national plan strategy. And when we were talking, he said, tell you, you're right. If you and I, we're very different, can get along with each other and work together, the president and I can too. But within a couple of days, his whole tone changed publicly in the press around here about the president. People called me, telling me, "Damn, man, when you say that, man." And I've said the same thing to the White House people. Y'all need to work together in a bipartisan way because this is not political. This is in the sense of bipartisan politics. This is a humanitarian crisis that is actually a national security threat to the whole nation. Because if you don't rectify this, and particularly the fact that most of us are black folks, that you are violating the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and if you continue to do that, and we are lost, and we become inconsequential in this country, your Union Republic will dissolve. Because Benjamin Franklin, the greatest abolitionist of the time when this nation was born, the founding fathers said, Benjamin, when they signed up the Constitution, that Benjamin, you go out there and you tell the people what kind of a government they got. So Benjamin went out there and he said, we have given you a republic. If you can keep it. What does he mean by that? Because this country was born with a basic, fundamental flaw called the peculiar industry of chattel slavery. That is the greatest affection. And the founding fathers charged the American people, we the people, to rectify that generational destructive pattern. And they did. They did it halfway. We're at this part now. We're at the tail end of it where we can actually finally finish this. But I'm concerned though, if we do not form ourselves into a body politic real soon here, the president is going to be led to give this money and resource to California. And he's going to wash his hands of it and say, look, I gave them people money. I gave them folks out there resources. I told them to have anything they want, land and everything. And they still blew it. They're going to do this. Because whatever they come up with in LA, it becomes a national model for every city. And people are saying, they can't fix this problem. We may have to vote in some measures to the National Guard. Round these people up, quarantine, Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, if that happened, your African ancestors that came across that slave ship are dead in vain. Everything we've ever stood for in this country, our people did in vain. Not only are our people dead in vain, but a bunch of white folks. There were 740,000 innocent young white boys, north and south, had nothing to do with slavery. They were born into the world. They were innocent. They died because of us and over us and for us. Because we're that important to this country. There's never been a war that America has fought as great as the Civil War. More men died in that war than all American wars combined. It was the most significant and always will be the most significant war in the history of this country. Because it's over us. It's humanitarian. Now, if we fail, if we allow the president, the local officials here in Los Angeles to continue this pimp game, to where the good citizens of this city, Republicans and Democrats, white, black, brown, red, and yellow, frightened citizens, out of panic, begin to call for draconian measures like the National Guard rounding people up and taking them out of town. So now Gavin Newsom, the governor here in California, has said, show you what I'm talking about one more time. He said he's put a mandate on all the cities in California. He said that if you don't get these folks off these sidewalks, I'm going to sanction. Now, the only way these cities can get the folks off the sidewalk, but Gavin Newsom has apparently said, allegedly said, well, because the neighborhoods won't allow shelters into their community like the mayor's rich houses, the community, we'll just take them outside of town and build something for them there. See it? Y'all see it? We're being walked into a cul-de-sac. That's what's wrong. For the record, because I know it's going to get out. For the record, I ain't mad at nobody. Got no animosity. I had some. Stuff, but it almost killed me. It didn't hurt them at all. It was killing me. But I had no animosity, no bitterness. I have no sides. I try to be nobody's leader. All I want to do is arm the ADOS with the law, and I want the Republicans, the Democrats, and everybody in this country to behave themselves. I got it.
I want to jump in real quick because I see you, Nicole. Thank you, Angel, for being on the live. Cat Lego, thank you, Joelle. I see people in the chat, and I want you to put your questions and your comments. We've gone over an hour, but this is just too rich. I'm only going to take a few more minutes of your time, Ted. But I want to go back because you said something that struck me as a little odd. You said that the Civil War and white folks died for us. I thought that the Civil War was about money and economy. That, the North was upset that the South was able to enrich themselves for free off the backs of our enslavement.
Yeah.
And were able to outpace the North financially. And so they wanted to dismantle slavery so that they could be enriched or on equal footing in terms of economically. Like, I don't even know that we'd be free. I don't know that we'd be free if money and greed and jealousy almost was not at the center of why the North went to war with the South. Is that a misunderstanding? Because the way you just framed it, it made me say, wait, because was it about our freedom, or was it about money? I would like some clarification around that.
It's you're right. You're right. That's true. That's absolutely a part of it. In fact, when you say it's about money, that's who we are. When I said that we are the national treasure, we are the money. We are it. We are on. Remember, listen to these words. On the back of chattel slaves, the nation of immigrants was built. No, it is about the money. We are money. We are currency. We were chattel, folks, means property, like a telephone or a house or car or cattle. That's living chattel. Dogs, cats are living chattel. Mules are living chattel.
That's how they treated us.
Yeah, and the thing that made us more valuable than a cow or a mule is you can't say, hey, mule, go over yonder there and pick up that log, bring it over here and put it over there, old mule. You don't know how to do that. But we could go over yonder, pick up that log, move it over there. And we could also think, and we can work things out. So, yeah, we were it. However, in the mix of all of that, like in everything, people do things for ulterior reasons and for selfish reasons and moral reasons. And for example, the Underground Railroad, that was created by white folks, Quakers, Anabaptists, Mennonites. The one black folks that created that. They made Harriet Tubman famous. Harriet Beecher Stowe, the lady who wrote Uncle Tom, which was the moral novel that moved Europe, England, and the United States more towards we've got to end the injustice of slavery in this country. And on it went. And you know, some people don't like Abraham Lincoln. I went through that phase too. I couldn't stand Abraham Lincoln either because I read him out of context. He was a complex man, obviously. But Abraham Lincoln fell in line with the Declaration of Independence. If y'all go back and read that, now it doesn't matter what other people believe or the practice or don't practice. For example, a law that is not enforced does not negate the validity of that law. A law that's not enforced does not negate the validity of that law. Now, the Declaration of Independence says in the very middle of it, God is the central character of the Declaration of Independence. And what these folks did was they implicated God in the crime of chattel slavery.
Yes, they did.
Okay? And now Thomas Jefferson, later on, before he passed away, who owned slaves, he said, now when I think that God is just God and we got all these slaves, I fear for my nation. Now, Abraham Lincoln, who said that Thomas Jefferson was his number one mentor, he knew what this man was thinking. He said that God told him to write the Emancipation Proclamation. It was already on his desk. A lot of people don't know that. It was there for like 2 years, and he wouldn't touch it for political and social economic reasons. Okay? Finally, when he got the clearance, God spoke to him in a covenant, and he said, now, I'm going to do this. I want you to do that. And Abraham signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which was the beginning of the chattel slaves being transferred from the jurisdiction, not only from the federal government, and of course, before that from the British, but now we've been transferred literally, folks, I'll show you this in the future, into the jurisdiction of the White House, of the President of the United States. You see, whatever motives that people fought the war for and over is irrelevant. What is relevant is what came out of it, us, and this law that was written for us. Let me tell you one more point about this law. This law, when it came across the desk of the President, Andrew Johnson, who was later impeached, he was the first guy to be impeached. When this law came across his desk, it came across his desk in 10 sections. And 3 of the sections right out tells the President of the United States that he has direct responsibility to oversee and protect us because we are under that jurisdiction thanks to Abraham Lincoln. He tucked us in there. And that law was so powerful that when Andrew Johnson became president after Lincoln was assassinated, because all came out of Lincoln's head, right? And the radical Republicans came out of their heads, okay? When he read the document, he said, I'm vetoing this. And they said, well, why are you going to veto something like that, man? Come on. He said, because, now watch this. He said, because it gives more power, not power, more power to black citizens, to the freed slaves over white slaves. And if you're an objective reader and student, read it, you're right. But not to the point to where we oppress, but to the point to where we catch up with them. Remember, they came here, what? Willingly. We came here, what? Unwillingly. They came on the Mayflower, and we came on the white ship, the white lion, and all that, the white treasure. That's what we came on. We came in chains. They came as free.
Thank you for that. I do want to get Nicole's question in. She says, Elder, what do you see as the strategy?
Right now, my team and I are pretty deep in the White House, and we're negotiating with them very strongly. What I need is for you and other people, ADOS, I need for as many, particularly black citizens around this country, to form into a body politic and to support me as an ambassador of y'all into the White House to negotiate this stuff and to bring it to the point where we even negotiate reparations. Because that's what I told you before, we already have it. This is the paperwork. And excuse me, certain groups that y'all have all heard about around the reparations issue, they don't know nothing about this. They don't speak this language because they've been prejudiced against it. I recognize this language. And if you're going to talk to the people who run this country, you can't come in there talking some kind of gibberish language to them, especially can't go in and cuss them out, calling them a bunch of racist pig, mother effers, and all that kind of mess. They know that already. They don't need all that. They want to know, you're going to speak my language, you'll speak your language. It's my house. Okay? You start speaking this man's language, he's got to listen to you. But see, he's not going to listen to me alone. So, y'all got to, I got to say, Mr. President, look over my shit. When Malcolm and that brother got arrested in Harlem, and Malcolm's history, he got arrested by the police, beaten up the Texas. They took him in. Somebody said, Malcolm said, Malcolm, man, you got that brother out there, our fellow Muslim. So Malcolm sent the word out. All the Muslim brothers came out, and Malcolm went in there, and he sat down and talked with them. And the police was thinking he was alone. So Malcolm said, look, man, I know what y'all think. He walked him over to the window, and he looked out the window, and there was the fruit of Islam. You know, they let that brother go. And we got that kind of juice, y'all, with this law. So I want to be able to gently say to the negotiator, Mr. President, I am alone. Look, take a look out your window, and we'll have the whole White House around me. Now I'm working with other groups too, okay, to educate them on this as well. There's a group out here in LA. These are white folks. These are liberal Democrats, libertarians, some conservative Republicans are mixed in there, and a lot of famous people and wealthy folks and stuff, and they're forging themselves also into a body politic, and they're writing a letter, like you guys are going to have a letter, and they're going to get that letter to me, and I'm going to take it, put it in the proper hands of the White House. So I'm looking at it, y'all coming at them this way, they're coming at them that way, another group coming that way. So we have now is the White House is surrounded.
Thank you for that. I have Arthur Ward, who is co-chair of ADOS Chicago, who has called in, and he is one of your fans, Ted. And I told you about Arthur, and I promised him an introduction. Arthur, if you can keep your background quiet, we can have you talk with Ted directly. He's got Arthur has access to me on my direct line. There's certain ADOS leaders that get in because they're putting in work, and I have nothing but love and respect for them. So he called like twice, and I thought, well, let me patch him into the call so you guys can meet, at least over the phone, until you guys can meet in person. Arthur, go ahead.
this is a surprise. I was, I was calling to make sure that you got that paperwork that I sent back to you. But I'm on with Ted. Well, I wanted to let him know that I'm one of his biggest fans, and I got introduced to him on YouTube, and you were explaining the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment in a way that I had never heard it explained before, and it's engraved in my mind the way you explained it, and you bowled me over with that, and I've been a fan of yours ever since.
That's good to hear, man. I don't have much opportunity to view and take survey and stuff because I'm constantly like this, head down, swinging, fighting with this thing, and to hear you say that means that wow, people are listening and they're learning. That brings great joy to me.
No, I that particular video I pointed to everybody so that they can get clear about their position in this country, and that was the first time that I ever heard Black people. Well, let me specify because I can ask you on the phone, and she'll highlight me on that one. American descendants of slavery.
Thank you.
As federal super citizens.
Say that again, Mark.
Yeah, you described American descendants of slavery as federal super citizens.
You got it, brother. You heard it, didn't you? You heard it.
Yeah, but no, you don't understand, dude. You don't understand. I mean, you were talking. I mean, it was like you were just zooming right along, right? I think you was on automatic when you were saying this, but that phrase grounded me. And it has the same effect on other Black people that I point them toward that video to hear. You don't realize that was an important piece that you did. You was just going off the top of your head, man. You was just gone.
Oh my goodness.
That would knock me over.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, that would knock me over. Federal super. Yeah, we got to use that language.
I'm sorry?
We have to use that language.
That's what I'm saying. It's all in the language. Words are powerful. Very things. And if you connect those words with the right knowledge and information, you can actually speak into existence that which you want. You hear me?
Right.
How did God?
I have
God spoke the world in existence. And if we are indeed his children, have that same capability to speak what we want on this earth. And when we kind of law in our hand, we understand it. And we go to the powers that be that he has set up to rule, not that they set up, because he sets men and women up to rule, even the basis of men. And we speak like that, he will then push them in their heart to comply with us without shooting, blowing us away.
Right. Yeah. That's right. You know, it's kind of like when you said federal super citizen, that was the first time that I had a feeling of ownership.
There you go. That's the idea. Go ahead.
Nicole is asking, what is the video? Can you please share the link?
Yes. I forgot the name of the video, but I have it on my computer as one of the links that I saved. So I can send it to you, and then you can send it to Nicole.
That would be awesome. Okay. And then okay, Arthur, yes, I did in fact get your application for the Super PAC board nominee. I got the email. So I'm gonna drop you because I've got to finish out the show. And I see Cat Lego has a comment or question actually. and I want to get his question out. And I mean, like, we're already 20 minutes over, but I thought you were calling because you saw Ted on and you wanted to speak to him and be introduced to him like I promised. So
No.
so my promise was fulfilled. I fulfilled. I did my part. So the next time you guys will have to meet up in DC someplace where the ADOS as his army bust through the doors and get these reparations, okay?
And Ted, try to make it to Louisville.
Oh, he'll be in Louisville. He's one of us now. He gonna be everywhere ADOS is. He said he said he went to the White House and they said, "We hear you, but where's your army?" And I told him the ADOS movement is it. He found his army when he met me.
That's something. Ain't that something?
Yes. So I'm gonna drive.
We're gonna have a nice long talk in Louisville, Ted.
Oh yeah, all night.
Oh. Louisville or Chicago?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Are you in Louisville or Chicago?
Chicago.
Well, listen, man. I got some people in Chicago. I'm supposed to be coming over there anyway real soon.
Oh well.
Yeah, this cat I'm working with, he's part of my team. White House.
Well, look, Angelo, please give him my information.
Of course, you know I will.
Okay. And we're going to hook this up.
And one more thing, too. It's April the 2nd, we're going to Capitol Hill to cash a promissory note, okay? April the 2nd,
sir.
Calendar.
Yeah, I wanna get you guys, Arthur, the board for the Super PAC and some of the assembly on a call with Ted about this major event where he's speaking to what Martin Luther King stated about cashing the promissory note, and he's going to leverage the 14th Amendment and the 1866 Civil Rights Law to get it done. He's saying that our reparations is inherent in those two items. So he's got a whole thing scheduled for us to go directly to the White House to make this happen and to hold Trump responsible. He sent me a couple of drafts that I'm going to send your way as well, drafted letters for us to look at and finalize with him in preparation for that event. So we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Not you, Ted, Arthur. Okay, so Cat Lego says, how do you stop Mexicans from coming into our communities and other groups? Can you tell them about, family, I know if you have to go, you guys can pick this up. This has gone longer than I anticipated. And I will definitely have Ted back. So put your questions and your comments in the chat, and we're going to go through those to bring him back for another show. This will be the last question for the night, family, about the Mexicans. But Ted has personal experience with the Mexicans as an ally and an enemy, and then he's going to answer your question. Go ahead, Ted. Talk about your history with the Hispanics here in Southern California.
The first thing is where you stop it is you first of all understand what this law is. You got to know who you are in the United States of America. The reason why they come here and they come in the name of civil rights because we don't know that this is ours, that this is granted to us. We don't realize that they're up in our house. And they broke into the house. And the reason why they're in the house, because we have not been in the house. We were running around here homeless, trying to find out who we are. And now that we have stumbled up on the porch, we've awakened to this house. All we've got to do now is expose the key and use it in the lock. And when they inside, who should not be inside, hear the lock jiggling, let me ask you, if you broke into somebody's house, they went home, and you stealing and packing stuff away, and you heard the front door lock, jiggling, what you gonna do? Anybody tell you to leave? You gonna act out the bathroom window. Here's my title deed. You ain't got one of these. You got to go back to Mexico. Wherever you from.
Exactly.
Out. If you want to get lunch and some clothes and something to put in his bag and things like that, and drink of water, stuff. Maybe give a couple $, if you must that. She went out the house. We don't know about his business. Yeah, understand something. We're gonna win this fight. Fight Mexico, okay? And stop with the Guatemala and El Salvador. And all of them come across the border. I understand. The subject beneficiaries of the law of the birth was listed. But Mr. Trump said, I'm going to build this wall down the southern border. He said, calls African Americans because it hurts African Americans, black people, citizens, more than anybody else. My team here in LA, we've been saying that for years. From the get-go, we've been saying that. Somehow it got to him. Okay? Also said that the 14th Amendment does not belong to the anchor children. You know, they call them anchor babies and all that. You know, baby children were born here to women who are here illegally. They call them anchors because what happens when they become a U.S. citizen, then that gives them the right to bring their cousins, their uncles, their grandparents, everybody else over here with them. It's called, you know, they just bring them all in, right? And Trump said, no, that belongs to black people, man. And so he went on to say a few more things that got my attention, like I want to be like Abraham Lincoln and finish what Abraham Lincoln started. That caught my ear, and that's one reason why they hate him so much, folks. They don't hate him because he's a whatever you want to call him. They hate him because he said illegal immigration hurts blacks more than anybody else, and the 14th Amendment belongs to us and nobody else. So that's how you beat it. And I think once we do that, all right, I'll tell you what. I don't want to go too much on this, okay, right now. I led 3-4 civil rights marches in LA against illegal immigration. Okay? The first one that we did, we walked down the middle of Broadway here in California. I don't know if you've ever been to Los Angeles, but there's Broadway Street, and almost everything there is Hispanic Latino. The way Harley speaks Spanish, English. there's a mixture now of white kids who are just gentrified back into the community, you know. And a friend of mine, he's a citizen. He runs up, Mr. Ted, Mr. Ted, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. So, what's up, man? Then, as the whole community is scared, man. You have turned the light on. They're afraid that if black people up, they have no ground to stand anymore. What has been happening, thanks to people like Mr. Obama, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and Christian Bishop, ministers, and your leaders. I used to have a right? Friend of mine, Terrence, and you know, and that one guy, he wrote a book called No Such Thing. Go look it up. Google it or eBay it. Called No Such Thing as Brown Black Coalition. He openly says that's a foil. It's fake. He says they ain't thinking about no black people. No, they're gonna use our blackness as cover to guilt trip this white man. Anglo English. So what's up, man? You can't be crossing borders, man. You can't do that in any country, anywhere in the world. Throughout history, nobody can't cross your border. You can't cross this border, man. It's wrong. Please don't do that. You're a racist. I gotta go. Racist? How am I racist? You're Hispanic, and you're a white guy. The Constitution says that you're a white guy. Your Constitution says it, and your birth certificate says you're white, you're Caucasian. How am I racist? Look at my skin color. You are treating me like you treat blacks. The white guy who has a guilt complex because he really ain't finished with us. He knows he ain't finished with us. He knows that. So he's like, he got me. He's right. And he said, all right, come on in. I'm very plain to white people about this. They're very nice. I expect that get back together because you're guilty working out and left you vulnerable to an invader. Downtown, right? White people, Hispanic, Latinos, black folks, mostly black folks, right? You hear the news, okay? Mayate, the black bug. They threaten to beat us up, kill us. It was day 12. And you white people, and take your niggas with you.
Jeez.
I can't believe it. I grew up in Maryland, right? I don't know about this. This is between us.
Too late.
Okay. Every Christmas, we would have a last Navidad Christmas party for Hispanic Latino kids over 18th Street, downtown LA. atheist gang. They didn't bother us because we fed their children, gave them clothes, we worked for them. And so we did a lot.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm sorry, Ted.
And one day alone, they called me a nigger 100 times.
Ted, can you hear me?
You,
My family is telling me that your audio and your connection is really muddled. I don't know what happened, but the call is going in and out.
how's that?
Much better. For some reason, it was breaking up really bad. And on my end, the picture is freezing and freeing up and freezing and freeing up. So I don't know what that part is about. But your connection, they were saying that even your voice, your audio is going in and out. So let's try it again. Back it up.
Yes.
You were talking about the march.
Okay, my apologies. So I think what that was I was speaking really soft. That's why and the connection didn't hit. How did you hear me now? Okay.
I can hear you now, Nicole or Victoria or Shauna. Let me know in the chat if you can hear the audio segment, because we've really over. We'll definitely have him back, family. But let him finish out his story, and then I'll pray us out, and we'll schedule some more time because, he has so much to share, so much knowledge to drop, and so many wonderful, rich stories about his journey to share with us. Thank you, Shauna. She said, yes, she can hear you much better now. Go ahead and just speak into the mic, directly.
I said that when I was growing up in Jim Crow, Maryland, the white kids said to my face maybe 15 times with animosity and bitterness, "You nigger." Okay, but when we had that march here in downtown LA, they must have called me a nigger over 100 times. You black nigger, you black ass this, you nigger this, you nigger. One girl was saying nigga so much she was foaming at the mouth at me.
Very ones that get over here and then disrespect us.
Now, I was talking about the homeless, black homelessness. I was telling these white kids, if you really want to deal with your fathers, your rich corporate pig fathers, you call them, you need to pick up the homeless and say, here's the ultimate statement of your capitalist greed. But the other folks had intimidated them. I was closing out. A dude spoke up, Hispanic dude. He said, "You always talk about the blacks. You always talk about the blacks. What about the Hispanic? What about the Mexican?" I said, "Did you want me to talk about the Mexicans and the Hispanics, brother?" He said, "Yeah." I said to him, I began to speak. I said, "You know what? I don't blame the people running across the border for what they're doing. Have you looked what's going on in Mexico, in Guatemala, Salvador, Nicaragua?" I said, "Ever since I was a kid, so I was a teenager, I learned about Mexico. I used to wonder why in the world a country so rich and powerful, the United States and Canada, won't help out their Mexican neighbors and Hispanic Latinos in Guatemala and Salvador." I said, "You know what else?" I said, "Them swashbuckling Spaniards, them white Europeans invaded your country, your land, brought disease. Those swashbucklers put their boots on the back of your neck, broke the church, and the white or Mexicans. You don't see Mexico the color Pan-African movement. How can we participate in worldwide movement, but we ain't got our home right yet? You can't bring them to the table. But if you get off our back and understand who we are, that you are not one of us, you are not in the jurisdiction of the United States. You did not come as a chattel slave.
Genesis, don't turn on your iPhone. Stop. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And if you do that and you support us, when we get the juice, then we can help y'all. But as long as y'all try to take that which is our medicine, as long as y'all keep taking our medicine, we ain't gonna never get healed. And if we die, guess what? Y'all gonna die too. So it's not in your interest to continue to try to force the Pan-African movement and the Pan-Caribbean and the Pan-South American movement on the ADOS. Give us a break here, man. this was built on our ancestors' backs, not yours. And that law was made to our ancestors and their descendants, not yours. You came willingly. And if you suffer here for coming willingly, you chose that. I say the same thing to the immigrant brothers. And look here, man, whatever. So let's say Donald Trump is old, racist, Nazi, whatever y'all want to call him, and America's a bunch of racist white folks. Whatever they do to you, you chose it. You broke into this man's house. You ought to be glad he ain't rounding you up. Because if you don't believe me, ask the Indian. Oh, they're not here, are they? What happened? That's why you need to watch your step. All y'all who invade the United States, all y'all who get in this white man's face, you're going to try to take him on in his house? You got another thing coming. Another thing coming. It's not in your interest, but it is in your interest to relate to ADOS, relate to us black citizens, work us, be patient, support us, and then we can support you.
Yes, well, you know what I find though, Ted, is that we have supported everyone and I don't see them coming out in droves to support us. Secondly, Chad on the Fox Soul show, Mike and Donnie, he addressed this very issue when one of the callers called in and said that she felt we were going about reparations all wrong. And he explained to her that reparations and the way in which we're seeking to be repaired has nothing to do with white supremacy, basically that they signed up for when they chose to come to this country. But that reparations was for slavery, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically what he was suggesting is that the reparations we seek is for slavery and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives, not for the white supremacy or the racism that you experience on the job or when you're trying to hail a cab. If you want recompense for racism, then you start a movement for that. But you will not commingle those ideas. This reparations is for strictly ADOS. And for the first time in my 53 years, we are making ADOS a priority above Pan-Africanism, above Hispanics, above Asians. We are making ADOS the priority. And that upsets folks because they don't like it when we make ourselves a priority. All distractions are equal. And they would prefer that we be distracted by the people wailing at the borders and that we be distracted by the Black immigrants who, oh, by the way, are doing significantly better than even ADOS. They come over here, usually entitled, usually especially descending from slave traders from Africa, and all they have to do is check the black box, and now they've got the civil rights entitlements that were due us. So you come from a wealth position, Africans mainly, And then you check the box and you get our scholarships to the Ivy League colleges that our ancestors built. You get access to the White House that our ancestors built. You get access to our civil rights, our affirmative action that was for us post-slavery. And so I'm glad you made that distinction.
Yeah.
And that we're on the same page with that. This is for us, by us, ADOS, period, the end.
We are not being mean. We're not being mean.
No.
It's being real.
We're being real, and we're making ourselves a priority, and I'm not going to apologize for that to anyone. And that's why I'm saying, they always want to say, well, what about us? Yeah, well, what about us? I don't see you marching for us. I don't see you screaming for our repair. I don't see you or hear you giving us credit for all the entitlements you benefit from in this country because of us, white women who've got your rich white husbands, and now you are the biggest benefactor of affirmative action. Immigrants who come over here and treat us as bad as our white oppressors. I don't see you guys marching for us, but you always want to know, what about us? Make it make sense. And so I tell people all the time, my priority this election cycle is ADOS and reparations and a Black agenda in exchange for my vote. Not unseating Trump. White folks put him in office, and they will not continue to use my vote as a mule for the Democratic Party to put out their fires and want to tell us to wait another term. Wait until the smoke clears. Wait until we do this. They always got to fire every election cycle. And guess what happens to ADOS? We get pushed further and further into the bottom. That's all that's happening. Do you know that all it takes is 100, because we only share 3 trillion of $107 trillion in this country, that our ancestors built all of the wealth we see around us. We were the machines, we were the shoes. So of that $3 trillion, 90% of us share 700 billion. 10% of us share 2.3 trillion. Do you understand that to be in the top 10%, all you have to earn is $150,000? Make it make sense. To be in the top 5% is $350,000. Because we don't have nothing. White folks share $100 trillion. They've got wealth to be able to transfer to their children. That wealth that they're transferring to their children is our wealth that should be transferred to our children. They've stolen from us. And I'm so happy to be collaborating with you to cash that promissory note, to get the deed and the keys, and to deliver my people, and to go up to the White House and tell Pharaoh to let our people go. Well, with that said, family, I thank you for working with us through some of the technical challenges. We're definitely going to have Ted back. He's one of us now. He's in the movement. He's an honorary member of the ADOS SoCal movement and our wise counsel at large. And we are just blessed beyond measure to have an elder who believes in us the way Ted does, and the patience he exercises in teaching us his wisdom and passing the torch to us without getting in the way and undermining and impeding on our process and our progress. We're just thankful to have you, Ted, amongst us as this kind of rich elder, because this is the way that it's supposed to work. Not being agents of chaos, but one hand reaching for the ones behind you and lifting us up so we can deliver the people and finish the work that you guys have started. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I want you guys to remember something now. As you go forward, this quest, make sure you keep the right attitude. Hate nobody. You hurt yourself to hate them. Don't get mad. Be angry. Difference. And be open to ideas. Don't call each other names if you disagree with somebody. Take this law and learn it. Go to my website, tedhader.us. Look up the 14th Amendment. It'll be there. I'll start studying. And call me. My phone number is on the website. Call me if you want to chat personally and ask me some questions or clarification. Okay? But hope to see you soon.
Real soon.
I'm honored. I'm so honored, y'all. Blessings to you.
Thank you. And you can stay for this part. I'm going to close us out with a little prayer of protection. And you guys know how I do. That the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever ADOS and its allies are, God is. I love you, Black. I love you, Strong. And stay tuned for the next episode of the Friends of ADOS TV, ADOS Hot Topics and Making the Case for Reparations some more. Thank you so much, family, for hanging in there. Until next time, you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening and work week. Ciao for now.
Ciao. 2020